Backlash 2017 is now done. I know there are people that are like, what the hell did I just watch? Drink it in, man. I did say it. But before we get to the end of this pay-per-view, let's talk about everything else. Kickoff show. Tye Dillinger versus Aiden English. I really did not care that much about this due to the fact that you have something in a Tye Dillinger. I understand that. But really, you don't sponsor him that much. And then you got Aiden English, who's no longer working with his partner in the Vaudevillains. You didn't push them. You didn't do anything with them. And Aiden English could be something very interesting. If you guys remember what happened to Damien Sandow, which was Aaron Rex, he went and did the Liberace route. Why not give a Liberace route to an Aiden English? He's singing. He almost does a dance in a little song. Why don't you give him something different? Make him a singer. I actually think it would work for him. But as it stands, I didn't really care. I didn't care. And that's sad to see. I want to see something for a Tye Dillinger. I want to see something for Aiden English. But when you actually do nothing with them, and then you throw them together just because, feels like nothing. Here's another one. Actually, there are, in this entire situation, there are 3 matches that was like, why? Tye Dillinger and Aiden English is one. The second one will be Luke Harper versus Eric Rowan. Look, there was something to the Wyatts. There was something good with the Wyatts. There was something good with Luke Harper. There was something good with Eric Rowan. When they broke away from the Wyatts on their own, they could have done something special with these two. At one time, they did have them have a slight feud with a little bit of a promo segment. A little one. That was about 2 years ago. They actually got something. Then they just threw it away. Here's another opportunity. You had something with Bray Wyatt. You had something with Luke Harper. Eric Rowan coming back, if you're going to sponsor this properly, could have still been getting signals from Bray Wyatt. You could have done something to sponsor Eric Rowan still as a disciple of Bray Wyatt, even though he is not a Wyatt family member anymore. You could have done something. And then you could have built a feud with these two. You could have built a feud of seeing Eric Rowan going after Luke Harper. But no. Nothing. You didn't do anything. You didn't build it properly. And so when you see this match, which was very physical, it felt empty. Just like the first match with Tye Dillinger and Aiden English, it felt empty. It's not the point that the crowd, and I got to make this very clear, the Chicago crowd was beautiful. They were nice and loud. They didn't do "this is awesome" all the time. They kind of cheered for who they wanted to cheer. They cheered for who they didn't want to cheer. Fine. But still, it felt like an empty match. And Luke Harper won. Finally, the thing that makes it even worse. Baron Corbin versus Sami Zayn. And I'm going to say this again. Sami Zayn sucks as a face who's an underdog. An underdog is someone who's under 200 and maybe 10 pounds. Daniel Bryan was not even 220. He was under 220 roughly. He was a very light guy. Finn Balor is a light guy. You can consider him underdog. Sin Cara is pretty much an underdog. Kalisto is pretty much an underdog. But when you look at a... Calm down. When you look at a Sami Zayn, he's not an underdog. The only underdog feature he has is the red hair that he sports. And this is something that I want to say before I speak any more about their match. You got Eric Rowan. And you got Sami Zayn. Put these two in a tag team. Call them the Redhead Brigade. You can even put a Becky Lynch in there. Becky Lynch doesn't 100% fit anywhere. She wants to be a redhead. She's not. We know that. But you could sport her as a redhead. Think about it. The Redhead Brigade of 2 guys and a girl actually would make some sense. You got three redheads who is well, she's not 100% redheaded. She's more orange haired sometimes, but you get my point. Put them together, WWE, and you'll actually have something different. You got three redheads who never get a clean break. There's always a problem with them, either thinking they're underdog or they're thinking like they're nothing. Put these three together and it means something. Baron Corbin versus Sami Zayn. Was it a good match? No. Because every single time when it comes to Sami Zayn, he always has to get hurt to actually be like a winner. This time it was his back. I would like once to see Sami Zayn win a match without worrying about him doing the fake injury bit, hurting his back. And that was horrid. It really was. I couldn't stand it. I know people like Sami Zayn. I'm not 100% against him personally. But the character he's sporting sucks. It's not his ring work. It's his character. And in the end, it wasn't Baron Corbin who won. It was Sami Zayn who won. Why? Sami Zayn doesn't have as much traction as Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin has gone up against the champions multiple times now. He's gone up against AJ Styles. He went up against Randy Orton. He went up against Bray Wyatt at one point in a triple threat. Why is this guy not given more of a push? Morgan, I know you're not happy about this. If you still love Baron Corbin like I do, I'm sure you're upset about this. I'm sure you're upset about this, and so am I. Now, the next thing I was not pleased about with this pay-per-view was the 6-woman tag. Why couldn't it have been separate feuds for at least two feuds? Why couldn't there have been 2 feuds for this situation? Why? Why did it have to be all 6 women together? The Welcome Committee versus the remaining women that are there, which is Becky Lynch, my Naomi, and Charlotte, who supposedly is not a face. Ladies and gentlemen, they glazed over the point that Charlotte's supposed to be not a face. She hasn't acted like a face. She's acted like a heel. So why are you sporting her as a face? Why? Why do you have to sport her as a face? Because she's the only woman there they have left that they can work with. And it just didn't feel right seeing that Charlotte was the one being cheered for when nobody wanted to barely cheer for Naomi. Now maybe I'm very biased because I am a Naomi fan. And I'm not very much a Charlotte fan because for the simple reason Charlotte has not given me anything interesting. When she's paired up with someone with a strong character who can wrestle as good as she can and bring something out of her, I'm interested. But when she's starting from scratch, she's already played out her character. I don't freaking care. She's just not that good unless she's paired with somebody that she's familiar with a strong character. And I'm going to say this clearly about Naomi. You know I love her. I believe that she was an untapped potential for more than a few years where they should have already gave her a title. Everyone else who didn't even have half to her ability. Black, Spanish, or white. More than a few women than her got that title. It didn't matter if they were black or Spanish or white. They got that title and they didn't even have half her ability. They didn't even have half her ability to talk or to work in the ring or to have a decent ability to be able to carry themselves as a character. And they got the title. And Naomi only just in the last 6 months has finally gotten traction and people like her. And instead of trying to promote that and grow with that, they throw Charlotte onto SmackDown. Someone who's been very well developed on Raw and had someone to work with who was heavily developed in a Sasha Banks, because that's the truth. Without Sasha, there would be no Charlotte. And now Charlotte is on a show where the champion is a new champion who only just got some traction with her character in the last 5 to 6 months. Not counting the time she had to go out because of an injury. But 5 to 6 months. So it's very upsetting to see this. And then it was why did they heels win in the first place? Why? I would understand if you're going to do something different. And like I said in my prediction, have Charlotte turn on Naomi and they lose the match that way. Perpetuating this means they're not going to stop the Welcome Committee. That the other three women are going to continue messing with the Welcome Committee. And the title, the Women's SmackDown title, is completely irrelevant. Because it's not one-on-one. A Naomi versus a Natalya. A Naomi versus a Becky Lynch. A Naomi versus a Carmella. Or the person that would make the most sense. A Naomi versus a Tamina. Real, legitimate relatives now. Because Tamina is cousins to her husband. And they haven't been together since the time of Team Bad. Why was this not done? Why would they not go there? Why would they not make a real feud with actual Samoan relatives? Yes, Naomi is in blood relative, a real Samoan, but she's married to one. And it makes no sense. Next. Let me see if I'm forgetting anything. The Usos versus the Fashion Popo in Tyler Breeze and Fandango. Oh my gosh, this was one of the highlights of the night. I don't care if anyone thought this was totally stupid and they didn't like it. It was freaking funny. Tyler Breeze was hilarious with that jumpsuit, with the fake mustache, with the scalp cap, and that broom. No, that mop. My mistake. Not a broom, a mop. I said there was a good possibility the Usos would probably not job. But if they did, it would make some sense because Tyler Breeze and Fandango's been getting some good traction. But I didn't think they'd job. And they didn't. But still, this is going to show the brass in the back that Fandango and Tyler Breeze, I'm sorry for watching. It was so freaking funny. It was. It was stupid slapstick that many people would think totally cheesy. But it was funny. And it got over. And it made the Usos even more hated than before. I loved it. Now here's the best match of the night. The U.S. title match. AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens. Mostly technical. Very high impact. And I thought it was the best match of the night. This one match set... How can I say this? Kevin Owens already had good heat. He wasn't great, but most of the time he was considered a chicken shit. Sometimes he was considered a badass. It went in between chicken shit and badass. Chicken shit and badass. But this match clearly made him a badass, a heel that you just can't stand. Because he beat AJ Styles in a way that pisses your ass off. And then afterward, kicking AJ in the back of the head after he tried the Styles Clash. Oh, that was a very nice touch. Going onto the announcer table about the Style Clash, Kevin Owens. Then his leg gets caught and I'm sure his nuts must have hurt when his leg went into that open cavity of that table. And I know it had to hurt. But getting his leg caught in the electrical system was perfect. Then when the match was over, Kevin Owens kicking him behind the head even made it more better to actually show a real feud. If, let's say that Chris Jericho's not coming back for quite a while, now you have a reason for Kevin Owens and AJ Styles to really have a good feud. It wasn't the fact that Kevin Owens is saying, I am the face of America. It was just the next fact that after the match was over, he was vicious and nasty, and that will piss off an AJ Styles. You don't take nothing from nobody. So he's going to want revenge for that, and it'll make perfect sense to continue their rivalry. Let's see, anything else I'm forgetting? Dolph Ziggler versus Shinsuke Nakamura. What did I say? Dolph Ziggler. Nicholas Theodore has become a basic enhancement jobber. I always monikered him as a main event jobber. That he can go to the main event. He can pull off a good amount of work either being a heel or a face and get some people over. Now, I don't even see that anymore. They don't really give him that anymore. He's nothing but a basic enhancement jobber match. Because look what he did for Shinsuke Nakamura. He got him over. And I know a lot of people say, well, that shows he's so great. Really? You're going to say he's that great knowing full well they have done nothing with him. Nothing. He went through The Miz. He went through Dean Ambrose. He went through, to a certain extent, AJ Styles. He went through with Baron Corbin. Where was any benefit for him to actually be in a main event and for people to actually want him there? Nothing. It wasn't the fact that people didn't want him. It's the fact that the WWE doesn't care about keeping him there or even letting it happen. It's a joke now with him. He's an enhancement jobber match. Now, of course, the match is going to continue, and so is a rivalry. They're going to have another match. This coming SmackDown, they're going to probably have another match. But still, he's an enhancement jobber. That's what he is. That's what he'll always be. Because the WWE will never give him a true opportunity to be in the main title scene, hold the title for about 4 or 5 months, and see if he truly can actually do something with it. If he falls on his face, or if he succeeds, they're never going to do it. And I still say, go to Impact Wrestling, Nick Theodore. Just go. Who cares about the money? Go. If you want some real credibility, if you really want a championship, go. Finally, the final match of the night. I knew this was going to happen. I did a video on it. Why he should win. Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton. Now I gotta say this. Getting his ass beat up in the very beginning before the match was okay. The Singh brothers didn't interfere in the match generally. They didn't even touch Randy. Generally. That was what I was hoping for. Now, when it came down to it, did the Singh brothers block Randy Orton? Yes, they did. But did they touch him? No. He did not get touched by them once. He destroyed both the Singh brothers. And I think at one point, he threw one of them a little too hard. And you could see the look on his face like, oh shit, I think I might have thrown one of them just a tad too hard onto the announce table. Oops. But in the end, after doing a double RKO pilot, no, not double RKO, a double spike DDT. I'm sorry I'm botching because I loved the look on the face of the crowd. They were mad. They're going like, oh my gosh, are you seriously telling me this is just as bad as The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar? What? That's the type of look a lot of people had. I'm not saying it's exact, but it's that way they felt. They were mad. They did not want Jinder Mahal to win. Yes, some of them did. But the majority did not want to see this. They didn't want to hear it. They wanted to see Randy Orton keep the title in USA instead of Canada. Remember, Jinder Mahal is a Canadian Indian. He's not directly from India. He grew up and lives in Canada. So Canada is the one that got the WWE World Heavyweight title. Oh, I have to say this to my friend Andre. He actually met Jinder Mahal. When you look at his intro, he actually met Jinder Mahal. Andre, if you know him legitimately, you have his number, you could tell him that one of the fans that has been watching him, who always thought he deserved a little bit better than what they did with 3MB, and particularly with the great Khali that could have done more with him, I am so happy for him. If you can contact him, if you know him, congratulate him. Because he deserves it. And I know people are going to hate that. Particularly that they didn't want to see this happen. Was the match okay? Yes, it was good. It wasn't the AJ and Kevin Owens match. It wasn't the best match of the night. But it was a good match. In the end, Jinder Mahal held that title over his head. He pissed off every person there. And he got instant heat. This is what I said in the video talking about Jinder. someone who had been in the company for a while that they have basically glazed over and not gave a damn. Instead of always going to the new talent or bringing back constantly old talent, do something with the talent you had for more than a couple of years, under 10 years. Do something with them. You got over 50 people who have been on the roster, who have been there between 6 to 10 years, and you should be doing something with them, WWE. I am glad you did this. I am glad you did this with Jinder Mahal. If this was, let's say it was with Heath Slater, if it was booked properly, I would do the same thing, because he has been an older talent that has been there for a while and they've done absolutely nothing with him. This is my point of view. This wasn't the perfect pay-per-view, but the ending made me so freaking happy because it pissed off everybody. And I know I'm going to get heat for this. I'm sorry, I don't care. Jinder Mahal is champion. Drink it in, man. I had to do it. I had to do it. I had to do it. Have a good day. Have a good night. Look for my Raw Review Mini tomorrow. Peace.